We are live on Chef Talk with Mr. Tyler Ryan.
Is he here?
He's here.
Get
in the
out
flesh.
of town. Get out of town.
And he doesn't have pants on, everybody. Hasn't wore pants in a year.
In a year.
In a year. Just protesting.
Yeah, well, I just don't see the reason for him. It's much more comfortable.
So nice suit coat, right?
That's right.
Watch is good.
Watch is good.
Shirt's nice and pressed.
There it is.
No pants.
Man, I get sticks like this. I feel like it's my duty to show them off.
I was going to say, those calves are looking good. Somebody's been working out.
I do some squats every now and again.
Oh, we love it. Here on Chef Talk, what we do is we get to the core of what people are doing right here in Columbia. And you, my friend, have a lot of things going on. So tell me a little bit back. Let's go all the way back. Tyler Ryan, young man, coming out of high school, reading a lot of Rush Limbaugh. You forgot I knew about that. So tell us, how'd you get into being a personality, man? I mean, you do TV. That's where we met. No, we didn't. We met on The Dude.
We did meet on The Dude. That's right.
We met on The Dude.
On the radio. That's right.
We talked food. Next thing you know, we're in Tip Tuesdays, and we've done a lot together.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I looked at him the other day, dude. There's like 9.
I love it.
You're
a good cook though, man. You're a good chef.
You're a better personality, so we've been killing it. So tell me, how did you get into this?
So, it's a really weird, it's a weird journey, to be honest with you. And I'll try to make it as succinct as I can.
Yeah.
Flashback to Peterborough, New Hampshire. I grew up in Keene, New Hampshire, way up in New England. And I was a kid, man. It's back when WKRP in Cincinnati was on, an old TV show about radio station for the kids at home.
Okay. They're going to have to ask their parents on that.
That's right. Google it or something. But my dad knew this afternoon drive DJ. And it was on WMDK in Peterborough, New Hampshire. You can Google that too.
So you and your dad, y'all listen to the radio. Yeah. Dad knows the guy. Okay.
So he says, "You want to go meet him?" I was like, "Yeah." I'm like 14 at this time, and I'm like, "Sure, why not?" So
you're heading down to the radio station.
Yeah. They get to the station, and here's this, and I'm talking a classic. This is before computers. We're actually records in the building.
So you're moving the things.
Everything's going on.
Everything.
And this guy's getting phones, and he's talking, he's playing music, and I'm like, this is a job for me. Now, mind you, it was radio, and I was a rather generously cut kid.
You didn't have those beautiful calves back then.
That's why they're so big now.
Okay.
Carrying that around for years. So I had a face for radio, body for radio.
Okay.
And so I said, this is what I want to do, man. And so I just listened to the radio constantly. I had a little one of those tape boxes, cassettes, and I literally became my own DJ in my house.
Yeah, I remember you used to record off one, play on the other. Yeah. A lot of people don't know what cassettes and
they're little tapes.
Yeah, exactly. So you were making your own stuff, and you're just playing around. You're 14.
Right, 14, 15. Well, then I made a ridiculous decision. Do not try this at home, kids. I decided that I am so cool, I'm going to drop out of high school.
Okay.
I'm living life. I've got a 72 Dodge Dart as a car. I've got all friends.
I like the Dodge Darts.
It's
I do like the Dodge Dart.
I'm telling you, I wish I destroyed. I was a 16-year-old. I destroyed that car. I wish I had that car today.
I bet you do. I wish I had that 1985 Cadillac Fleetwood that I started off with.
Yeah, man. Woo, you destroy them. But
so you got going. So tell me about this decision. You drop out of school.
This is the craziest thing, man. This decision was made at the time I was living with my great grandmother.
Okay.
I was a bit of a problem child, so
okay.
My mom and dad and I had decided that we probably should live apart for a minute.
Okay.
Live with my great grandmother, and man, I've got the mullet, I got the hair, and I'm the cool.
And what year is this?
Kid.
What year is this?
88.
Oh, rock and roll's good,
dude. I've got parted down the middle, pushing back, and I'm literally, Jason, driving to school one day, and it was a beautiful day. I just got my license, and I look around, I see people out walking around, enjoying life, and I'm like, I'm going to school. Hell with this. I literally turned around, walked back to my grandmother's house. She goes, "Why aren't you in school?" I said, "Oh, I quit today." And of course, she was like 70 something, and she was already scared of me. She's like, "Okay, whatever you want to do," because I was Billy Badass.
Yeah.
And so I bounced around for a little bit, and
just on and in jobs.
Just on and in jobs, and I approached WKBK in Keene, New Hampshire, a little tiny AM station, and they needed a board off. And back then, they didn't have computers, like I said. So if you were on the air, you had to have somebody in there pushing buttons down.
Right.
And so they needed somebody from 7 to midnight to go in and push buttons from one network to the other.
Okay.
And I had a 1-minute newscast. So I was on the radio, baby.
For 1 minute.
For 1 minute every hour.
Every hour.
I would 5 minutes. I do this and then wait 55
minutes.
But
17, you're feeling good on that 1 minute. I mean, mullet's going good.
Killing it.
You in that Dodge Dart outside? Okay.
Loving it. So, I did that for, I don't know, probably not even a year, probably 6, 7 months. The music station needed somebody.
The same one that your dad knew.
No, different one, different
Different
station
one.
down in Keene.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
MDK started down there, and they same thing. So I decided, I was like, I'm not playing music. So this was a talk station I was working at, but that's when I started listening to Rush Limbaugh and all the people that kind of formed my thoughts later in life. But I had the opportunity to, I was pushing buttons, and there was an opening in the air. There was somebody who called in sick, and the program director, the boss, he probably asked the janitor before he asked me, but he finally
But you were on the list.
He's like,
I need somebody.
Can you cover the shift? And I'm like, yes.
Watch me.
For that 55 minutes, and this is something I always tell, when I mentor and talk to kids, or talk to anybody, dude, teach yourself everything about a job. If you become a chef, teach yourself how to do everything.
It's how I got my first saute job. Right. I was a prep guy, and the guy must have had a rough night and couldn't show up. And I had been looking at that station the whole time, and I knew just about every dish on that station. And he was like, "You think you can handle that station?" I said, "Well, I got the pecan trout. I know this one. I know that one." He was like, "Yeah, jump on it." Bam. Went from $10 to $15, just like that.
Love that. And then your star was born, right?
That's it. That was it.
And dude, that's
so that one night you jumped on.
I jumped on.
And what did he say?
I didn't suck.
So what did he say?
He just started coming up. He goes, "Hey, listen, on the weekends, we always have this guy, and we're making a shift. And you want a weekend shift? Sure."
Picked up another one.
Just get that. All of a sudden, I find myself doing 7 to midnight. Now I'm a high school dropout.
Okay.
And I figured,
but you got a job.
Got a job doing radio, and I'm like, but I was smart enough. I listened to enough talk radio to realize I need, I couldn't be a high school dropout if I'm in a career field. Because I was thinking, I'll drop out of high school, I'll work at a gas station, which is a great job. That's what I want to do. But I was like, I felt like something more I want to do.
Okay. So Pete, you're starting to listen to all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So the radio's kind of
it plays into
it does
everything.
Okay.
And so I get my GED. I applied to night college at Franklin Pierce up in New Hampshire.
Okay.
Because I don't have an SAT or college or a high school degree. So I kind of backdoor the system.
Right.
At this point, I'm 18.
You got to get a little associate's degree.
I went to regular school, but I went to the adult ed class, which is part of it. It's like USC offers, adult classes.
Yeah.
I became a student, and then I transferred to the day school because I was already a student. And it was a transfer. It wasn't like
backdoor
process. Yeah. No SATs, none of that stuff. So, so I keep doing radio, and I'm doing full-time radio at that point, putting myself through college.
Okay.
During the day, learning how to be a DJ, but at night doing it. So I was the guy in the back of the room. Professors a lot of times they haven't been necessarily in the real world for a long time. So
exactly.
That's the way it is.
I cooked for 6 or 7 years before I ended up at the CIA in New York.
Yeah. So there you go. So
nice.
We'll talk about the CIA in a minute. But I was a kid in the back of the room, and I was, "Professor Ryder, that's not really how it's done anymore, sir." And he'd be like, "Oh, do you want to teach the class?" And the guy went, "Sure." And I'd stand up and
show him what you've been doing all night long.
I was a jackass. But so this is where the journey gets really weird, man. And so I get to my junior year, and I'm playing music, having fun.
Okay.
All my friends are joining the force or the military.
Right.
And I'm thinking, man, I love being on the radio. It's fun and all, but I feel like I'm not doing something good for playing music's fun, I'm entertaining, whatever.
So now you're starting to feel you want a purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I decide in my junior year that I'll be a cop. So I graduate college in May. Start applying to every police department I can. I get picked up in October of that year.
Okay.
Police.
I know about 10 things that he does. I just found out a new one.
So, I get picked up as police, and which is awesome. And I've been a policeman for a long time, and I'm proud of every minute. And I love police. I'm just telling you.
Well, here in Columbia, we support them. I mean, when they come in with uniform, we always bring them something out. We thank them. I see you down there at the 9/11 stuff, and I mean, you're still heavily involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how long did you do the police thing?
Well, I'm still actually involved, but I become a full-time cop, and I keep radio on the side as a hobby.
You're on the beat, driving the car, and at night, all your buddies are in their car, and they're listening to you.
This is what's happening.
I love it.
This is the thing. So remember, this is before websites and the internet. So
radio's where you got most of your information. TV or radio.
And the great thing is, they know what I look like. So I could go. I was a detective at that point. I made detective pretty quick. Worked in sex, crimes, and narcotics. So I'm out busting guys, and then I'm on the radio being a jerk because this voice. I'm having fun, and so I'm dealing with the dirt of the earth.
Yeah.
But I get on the radio, and it's like therapy. I can kick back and have fun and cut up. And
it's a good way to unplug. It's a good way to unplug.
It was amazing.
That's awesome.
So I kind of keep my hand in radio while I'm doing full-time law enforcement. I actually moved to South Carolina to be a full-time policeman down in North Charleston.
Okay.
So I end up down there, and this is now fast forward to about late '02, and I pick up a radio gig down there. Again, part-time. It's just fun. Radio's like my therapy.
Right.
And about a year later, it was 107.5. The game here was Cat Country down in Charleston.
Okay.
Back in 02, 03. And they said, listen, this is now, websites are coming out, it's starting to merge into the video generation.
Yeah.
And the station says, we need a guy that, that can be kind of a video guy and work with communities and do good things, causes and charities and things like that. And I was like, wait a second. So I can do the entertainment stuff, have fun on the radio, but also then serve the community as I'm doing as a policeman.
Yeah. But doing it on an entertainment basis.
I'm like, yeah.
Oh man.
So I was fortunate enough to flip the script and become a part-time policeman, which I still am a class 1 sworn officer.
Okay.
And become full-time media. I got here in 05. I worked at New 92 Radio, which is now the Dude, but it was
okay.
It was
so you were right there off of the Gervais.
Yep, 1010 Gervais. When I got to town on May 13th.
That's where we met, in that studio.
That's it.
And so you started there.
Started radio.
And you still part-time?
Yeah, I'm still on iHeart now.
Okay.
But yeah, man, in 06, they needed a part-time weather guy at Watch Fox here in town. And when you're in journalism,
reached out to you on that? Just somebody at
Tim Miller, who's now in Augusta.
Okay.
I have to thank Tim Miller.
Thank you, Tim.
Chief meteorologist over in Augusta now.
And he says, I got a guy.
Yeah, he says, I got a guy. Because you got to think about this. In journalism, you develop certain skills, right?
Right.
So reporters, you learn how to chase, you know the stuff. When you become an anchor, you're very used to reading the prompter because you want to make sure you have to be exact. You have to get your facts right.
But you're kind of journalism as a cop. I mean, you're digging into things, detective. That's kind of all bleeding in.
Kind of the same job. So the thing about weather, which is what I got hired to do, is it is all ad lib. I'm not reading off a prompter.
No,
I'm putting together forecasting. I'm telling a story.
Yeah, you're pulling all that information, so you got to do all the data and all that, and then you're just coming in and telling them what you got.
Telling a story. That's it. And so DJs make great weather guys. So you want to do weekend weather? I said, sure. Started doing that, transferred, got kind of on the morning show, left the radio, became the host of the Watch Fox show.
Yeah.
And so it just.
So now it's Good Morning Columbia.
Now it's right at ABC. Now I did take time as a cruise director at Carnival. Don't forget that.
Oh.
It's in between Fox and ABC.
Setting up the magic guy. Setting up the 200 chefs.
Hey, everybody. Yeah.
So they're coming on for a 5-day cruise and they got to deal with you for 3 days.
Correct.
Where do I want to go? What show do I want to see? Where's the casino?
Just tell them all what's going on. So, but yeah, man, that was 2015. Did that for a little less than a year. And I was fortunate enough to come back, and ABC Columbia needed a weather guy, and I was uniquely qualified.
Qualified.
For the last, 5 years.
So you jumped right in.
Jumped right in. Yeah. And here I am.
That's awesome. So now I'm going to tie some stuff together.
How was that for a story?
That was a good one. So I'm going to tie it all together. So I got here, let's see, 2016.
Okay.
And I open up this place. The lady from the Dude comes down. We want to get you on the air. We want you to do some commercials. I said, all right, well, let's go down and let's see. I walk in. I meet Mr. Ryan here. And he says, how about doing some cooking segments? I said, wait, what do you mean? He said, well, I do Tasty Tuesdays.
That's right.
So how did you get into food? I mean, I imagine as a cop, you're on the beat, you're driving around, you got to eat out a lot.
Yeah.
And so you just had a love for food?
My first job, I was probably illegal now, but my first job actually was working as a dishwasher. I became a prep cook and then a cook. I wasn't quite a chef, wasn't trained, but at a very nice bed and breakfast called the Homestead Inn in Walpole, New Hampshire. It was literally right behind my grandmother's house. Like I walked, it was through the woods, and the same thing, man. Peter Sheldon was the son of the owners who was the chef. And I was doing dishes, and he said, "Hey, you want to do some prep work for me? Cook this up."
And this is also fast paced, which is kind of what you like and what you kind of got towards.
Yeah.
And so you just started cooking there.
I started cooking there, and
then you got to TV, and you're like,
"We're doing a cooking show."
Oh, I love it! I love it. So now, just so y'all know, after COVID and everything, you couldn't have anybody in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
So Tyler said, "Okay, I can't have anybody in the studio. Guess what? You come into the house."
They're right.
So now you got cooks. I know. You got cooks that come to the house now cooked there. Tasty Tuesday, still on the air, still rolling.
Dude, I love it. I mean, I
The hell
love
with
love cooking. Yeah, I've said that all along, but that's a different story.
I know.
But,
Dude, this is so now you're kind of like me though, right? So I got a dozen things going on.
Yep.
I just found out that you are now a professor
yes.
at the University of South Carolina.
University of South Carolina.
We are here on campus right now. Myself, I cook at the McCutcheon House, so I teach garde manger, which is the last class, which is the fancy stuff, how we plate stuff, and
Right.
making cold stuff, and sausages, and sushi, and all this other stuff.
Now I'm just hungry, man. Now I'm just hungry.
That's it. So we'll get that stomach growling a little bit. But you are teaching boating.
Yeah, the keel sailboat classes.
Nice.
I'm in my third semester. The first two, we have my friend Glenn was the lead instructor, and we've kind of flipped the script.
Nice.
So this is my first semester teaching, but we do a mix of in classroom swimming, and then we get out on the boat.
Now, if y'all don't know out there, Tyler also runs a tour group down in Lake Murray.
Correct.
Now, what's the name of it?
So I run Aquafun Paddle, which is a paddle board.
Aquafun Paddle. Now that's paddle boarding, and then
Paddleboarding
you
kayaks.
also have the.
Lake Murray boat tours.
So that's like the pontoon. I see you get like a bunch of people on there.
Yeah, man.
You take them around and you show them not only what history
Yeah, we do.
of the lake.
Man, we do history tours, sunset. There's purple martin tours during the summertime when those birds come in, which is incredible. We do whatever. We do beach tours. I do weddings.
Take 'em
bachelor
places.
parties, bring 'em
Now
around.
he's gonna say. Now we're gonna throw another one. Y'all gonna say, wait, Tyler, he does what does he do?
Yeah.
So not only is he gonna take you out on the boat for the wedding, but he's gonna marry you too.
I can't do that.
I knew it.
Yeah.
So I married my first person. Guess
Right.
where? Right here at
That's-
1801.
Outstanding.
Went online, got the little thing, jammed it out, certificate, New Life
Right. Yeah.
Church, I think is what I'm a part of.
Hey, it works.
And I was able to marry him right here.
That is awesome. I'm a notary, South Carolina notary, so that allows me.
Oh,
to
you
marry
got
as
your
well.
states there.
I got.
You got the real deal.
But yeah, man. It's funny though. I wear a bunch of different hats, but they're all kind of tied together.
Yeah.
The
I
law-
noticed that.
The law enforcement and the journalism is the same. I mean, if you think about that, as a detective or a journalist, my job is like you're doing right now.
Right.
Sit and talk, build a rapport.
Right.
talk
Get
to
the
you.
story.
Either
Figure
you're
it
gonna,
out.
either going to tell me you did it, you're going to jail, or yeah, I did it, and you're on TV.
That's right.
The both side of stuff, it's all experience and entertainment. Cooking,
Yeah.
it's entertainment.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
having
exactly.
fun with people,
Exactly.
getting to just relax and enjoy life. And that is so important. And the older I get, the more I just want to do that part of it. Give people awesome experiences.
Yeah.
I know you're the same way. When you send food out, you're like, they're
Yeah.
gonna love that.
And how many times, I mean, well, me and you, we've done the charity, we've done a couple
Mhm.
charity events together. We've done the homeless shelter down there. That was at the Grand.
Yeah.
The Grand was good. So check this out. My mom was in Louisiana and we had the baby. She wanted to be closer to her grandbabies. So she moved up and now she is the general manager of the Grand.
Get out of town.
Yeah.
See,
She
look at
came
that.
up, took it over, and so here we are now.
And that's a great venue, by the way.
It is-
Speaking
it
about
is.
things in Columbia,
It
I
is a great
love that
venue.
place.
They got the top golf thing set up.
that's on the 4th floor now.
Yeah, they moved it.
Yeah.
So they moved it up, and then they have main course.
Yep.
They have the Grand. They're opening up that smoke place.
And if you don't know, they do serve a killer breakfast. I'll eat there a couple of times a week. They have
yeah,
a
it's right down
great
the street from the studio.
Yeah, it's great. I love that breakfast. Nobody knows about it either, man. It's one of those things like there's nobody in there,
Yeah.
which bad for them, good for me. I
No,
like it.
that
It's
guy's
like
got
private
it.
dining.
That guy's got it going on. And you know what I like? What he's doing is he's taking those buildings that may have not been nothing, and he's revitalized.
Right.
So he is doing something for the community. Yeah, I mean, he's got to turn a profit. He's supplying jobs for. He's got the Good Life Cafe. He's got 4 or 5 places, but he's doing a good thing.
He's got a lot.
And evidently, he's got good breakfast. So I'm gonna have to go check him out.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go check him out. So we're back. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we are back in action.
What did Wayne and Garth say? Game on.
Game on.
Game
party
on.
Party on, Garth.
Party on, Wayne.
That's right. Y'all probably don't know about that. That's
They saw the Super Bowl commercial.
Oh,
Remember?
that's right. Super Bowl was okay this year.
Are you kidding me? It was amazing. The
I know.
goat.
I love the goat.
The man comes into a program that hasn't been to the Super Bowl in forever, and in one season he brings home a ring. I'm sorry, you cannot. I
So-
don't care what you think of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
You cannot deny that.
Now, I was always on the Brady side. Because I felt like it was always either you were a Belichick or you were Brady, and you never know who was the reason. But I think it's been solved.
I think it's
I
obvious.
mean, I think it's been solved. And Brady, I mean, you can't ask for a better man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a great life.
Yeah.
He's got a great wife.
He yes, he does.
Shout out to Giselle. So I mean, he's doing big things.
And you know what I love? And I love, you remember all that Lombardi, that dust up where
he threw the trophy.
He threw the trophy, and like the daughter of the original designer,
Silva Smith came out,
and he goes, "I don't care." It was great. And then the owner of the Bucks were like, "Shut up."
You didn't see him wear any mask in there. I love it. I was watching the governor. Now I love that governor. I do. I really do. I love our governor.
Our governor's fantastic.
I love Henry McMaster. If you're out there, I'd love to have you on the podcast, bud. But the governor came out and they were like, "What do you think about all this? What do you think about that?" He said, "You do realize that I'm a Tampa Bay Bucks fan." That was it.
And that's the end of the questioning.
He's like, "Come on, don't get with me. I'm going that way."
Yeah.
Are you a fan?
A fan of the Bucks?
No, tell me who you're a fan of. Because you're from up north.
Yeah, so listen, I had all Boston teams, man, because I grew up in New Hampshire and Vermont.
So you've been a Brady fan.
I've been a Brady fan.
For a long time.
Those are my teams, the Celtics, the Bruins, the Red Sox, the Patriots. Those are my teams, because we don't have anything, above that. There's nothing in New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine.
No, so they all stick right there in those one little teams. If not, you're a New York guy, and then it's either one or the other.
And I'll tell you, there's something that I still...
So you're a Beantown guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And the Red Sox are that team for me. Jackie Brady Jr. when Bradley Jr. when he went to the Red Sox. I know several professional athletes, football, baseball, and I love them all.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool. No one pro.
Right.
But when JBJ went to the Red Sox, it was the coolest thing for me because he was a Boston Red Sox man. He's playing left field. Jim Rock. See, I came up through Jerry Remy's on second base, Wade Boggs is on the third. You had Buckner, who let the ball go through his leg in '86. I was at that game.
No way.
I swear to God, I was at the game when that fool let that ball roll through in '86. Went on to lose to the Mets the whole series. Kari Skremski I saw play. There's just something magical about Boston Red Sox, man. I
believe it's something magical about being in that stadium too.
Yeah, Fenway is such a
cool place. And then it's right downtown. So like you come out and like you're kind of in the city.
Right.
You're walking around. I just went down there a couple of years ago. Ate at the old Wahlburgers. I had to do the whole Boston thing, right?
Did you carry a camera around here like all the tourists?
Yeah, well, mine was in my pocket. I just took it out and snapped. I wanted to be cool, So you are a Boston fan now, sports-wise. Now you're in Columbia. You've been in Columbia how
long? Since '06. No, '06. So
wow.
A lot longer than I intended to. But I fell in love with the area, man. I mean, this place is great.
I like Columbia, and because I can get to the mountains in 2 hours, I can get to the beach in 2 hours, and then I can come home.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I can hang out.
And we got the lake. And I love the lake.
Well, you love Lake Merritt.
Yeah.
See, I want to get down there. We talked about you doing that boating stuff, and we talked about you doing some history and stuff. Now, I've never been down. I do a little bit of diving myself. We talked about it, and I want to do the church thing.
Yeah.
So that steeple comes above the water. Tell me a little bit about that.
It does from time to time. Every year in the wintertime, they'll let the lake down a bit.
Okay.
Now remember, Dominion, SCNG, it's a man-made lake first.
Right.
No, it's a man-made
so they
lake.
use that water for energy.
Yeah, and it's still a resource for here. The power they burn still is created by Lake Murray. I mean, it is all those.
Wow.
When you cross the dam, you see the 5 turbines. They are actively making power.
Ready to go.
It's all it's still
pushing water through it all day long.
Yeah, it's still a tool. So what they do though in the usually in the wintertime, December-ish, they'll drop the water down, and that's part of the life cycle of a lake. It has to go down with some milfoil and some of the vegetation.
Right.
That's how a lake cleans itself.
Right.
But they can
helps the fish, helps everything in there.
And I'm not certain, but I'm pretty certain they probably can do it with an app, because they can raise and lower that lake. But they can. They raise and lower it like that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure some guys like.
Yeah, turn the dam off. Turn the dam on.
Because it all comes down from the Saluda. So remember, the Saluda starts in the upstate.
Okay.
It creates Lake Greenwood too. There's a dam in Lake. That's how Lake Greenwood was.
So that feeds that.
Yep. And then it goes from Greenwood. The Saluda becomes.
So they can raise and lower it.
They can control it.
So I was told that they built the dam They bought out the people that were in the lower regions, and then they flooded the whole town.
That's pretty much it. Well, there were. It's funny you ask that because there's a lot of different.
I mean, in Colombia,
stories.
there's always 20 different stories. My grandpa was there. I mean, it's the whole deal.
Essentially, long and short of the story is it was 10, say, communities. So there was churches and schools and things, but the majority of it was farmland and woods.
Right. Acres and acres of that.
Right.
Because how big is their lake?
It is 46 miles long. It is
46 miles.
It's a long lake, man. I think it's 65,000 acres. It's a big lake.
Wow.
But you had like little pockets of communities, and so people said 10 towns. It wasn't 10 towns; there were 10 communities.
Right.
And you remember you didn't have in the 20s, you didn't have zip codes yet.
No.
But the mail still came to you. So it might be like we'd go to Jason Bruner's house. Here's the mail, and then you distribute it to the people around your neighborhood.
Yeah, I got 8 houses or 8 families that there, and those people are on 50 acres, 200 acres. They're all farming.
So you get your good deal.
So when they flooded it, they may have only flooded 10 houses.
Well, they did is when they bought the land. They pushed them out, but they bought the land. The landowner said, "Okay, we'll do it." They offered to rebuild houses. They offered to exhume because there was also 192 cemeteries.
Oh wow!
And so they offered to exhume bodies. Now a lot of people did, but a lot of people didn't. There's still cemeteries down there.
I would have went without.
Yeah,
just put me at the bottom of the lake. I think that's cool.
Right. And so there were churches. There's of course the bridge, the original bridge that crossed the Saluda River, which connects, if you know Lexington, Old Chapin. Old Chapin Road runs down to Lexington to the end, and it goes out towards Spence Island.
And that little bridge was in there.
Yeah, it's on the other side of Spence Island. The other side, it was Old Lexington Road in Chapin, and that connected the two.
That's cool.
And that bridge.
So instead of taking all that out, they just said, "Hey, we're going to flood it."
It's there. So and you can still go down if you're a diver. You can go down.
Now you dove that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's dark and it is deep and it is murky and
How
cold.
deep?
I believe that the top of the bridge is about 90 and some change. And to get down, you're about at the threshold for recreational diving if you want to try to get down to the actual bridge itself.
And what is that, 200?
No, about 120, 130. I'd have to go back and check my numbers. But yeah, so there's some really cool artifacts. The other cool thing is under Lake Murray, if you're a diver, is so the way it was built, essentially, it was built by hand primarily. So we did remember this is 1920s.
Oh my God, they're out there with shovels.
They're literally out there with shovels. Okay, they had 2,000 men
digging 65,000 acres of land.
So I think it's 650. We'll check on
Unemployment rate was real good then.
Well,
everybody was digging.
Yeah, remember this? They started digging in 28.
This is the Great Depression.
Right as the Depression happened, they're building Lake Murray. So guys were like, "Heck yeah, I'm going to work.
Give me that shovel."
Yeah, I need to feed my family.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what they did was they built this really intricate set of railroad cars to go back. And remember, Lake Murray was the world's largest earthen dam at the time. It was built by rocks and stones and sticks and trees.
So this is before the Hoover.
Yeah, well, the Hoover is man-made.
Oh, okay? That's right. That's right.
The world's largest earthen dam. So they build it this way. So what the guys are doing is they're shoveling into all these train cars. Train cars go over, dump the dam, and then it gets too high. They build another scaffolding. And start running them up here. And so you've got all these train tracks around. And that's why, by the way, Lake Murray is not a bowl like a lake.
Okay.
It can go from 150 feet deep to 10 feet deep in the middle of the lake because you're building, essentially they're digging quarries. And you know who the foreman says, "Boys, tomorrow you're over here." And so you
dig that hole more, and we got this.
Because the lake was not designed to be because there was no recreation.
I wonder if there's train tracks still all there.
That's where I'm going to. There are.
No way.
I promise you. We'll put a link on the pod. I'll send you the link. Put it on the podcast.
Okay.
But yeah, so you can actually see the train tracks down there. And this is kind of cool. So we did a dive a couple of years ago. And if you dive at all, a lot of times divers will leave like marks. If you go to Jocassee.
Right.
You leave like a trail for the divers.
Yeah. Kind of cool. String stuff for caves and stuff like that.
And there's Angel Rock and Lake Murray, other stuff. Anyway, you go down off the dam, you go down, you find the railroad tracks, you find those, and they're really cool. But there's a string, so of course it's all trains. So the way they would turn the trains around is in a big wheelhouse. You put the trains on, it spins it around, it drives back out.
Right.
So there's a line that goes from basically where the railroad tracks are, you can find just off the dam.
Okay.
Out probably 200-300 yards and about 40 feet down, you can go to the old train, the wheelhouse, and that's still there, which is kind of cool. But here's the freaky part, Jason. Is because the lake, and Lake Murray is not known for visibility. It's a dark.
I was going to say. I mean, what do you think? 2 feet?
On a good day, you can see 10, but you're losing it much out of here. I mean, a bad day, you've got 2-3 feet of real biz.
Ooh, cloudy.
It's cloudy. In wintertime, it's cold, but it's better because it's just not as much
Right.
activity.
And not stuff's kicked up too
Right.
much.
But so you go across this line, and because Lake Murray does this, right, you're going on the edge of this ravine that is pitch black, and I don't know how deep it is. So you're about 40 feet down, and you're going across the line. You're on the edge of it's like going off the continental shelf, you know?
Yeah, you're holding that line.
And you're looking down, and you're like,
you can't see.
I don't know what's down there that can see me, but I just kick, and it's like this long line.
Yeah.
I just kick across, and then you go, and then you get away from it. You're like, all right.
Dude, I don't know how many times that I've dove, and I dove a lot of clear water. I started in Hawaii when I was living out there, and then Florida's got all the springs. I mean, it gets crazy. But I dove some real murky stuff.
Yeah.
And I am not one of them guys who really gets scared underwater. But there are some times when you're diving, I don't care how tough you are, but you're like, oh, I get a little chill. I'm nervous a little bit,
When you do, and I dive for Newberry County. I'm a captain Newberry County Search and Rescue dive team.
So you're going down looking for something.
We're going to look for something specific. But besides that, if you go to you're talking about kind of creepy.
Yeah.
So we'll do the cemetery dives, and you go down, you find it.
I don't want to do the cemetery dive.
And I'm just telling you,
I don't want to do the cemetery dive.
Down there, and if you're fin, and remember, it's all woods and stuff, so there's trees and vegetation.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, here's a cemetery. You're kind of looking at a gravestone, and your fin hits like a tree. You're like, whoa!
That guy just grabbed you.
Yeah, you totally freaks
That guy just grabbed your fin.
And there's nothing down there, but it hits your fin. You're like,
oh, see, I'm from New Orleans, right? So let me give you a little rundown of New Orleans. We have been embedded in voodoo and grave tours and all this stuff. So I am definitely down there thinking that guy has just grabbed my fin.
You're probably just like, hey, I'm right here. Hey, how are you?
Now I'm okay with them because they're in another place, right? So I'm just like, okay, all right. But I'm thinking, that's got to be spooky.
It does have.
It's got to be spooky.
It has a
diving grave sites underwater
and low visibility.
It's been there for almost 100 years now.
Yeah.
1920.
It'll be 100 years. It'll be 26, 27. It'll be almost nearly 100. And who knows how long they were there beforehand. Remember, they were not buried in the 20s. That was your grandma in the 20s. So a lot of these.
That was 1800s.
The Civil War, even beyond. Remember the Revolutionary War? There was a lot of revolutionary.
I wonder
activity.
if they have people that go down there with the metal detectors.
I do. Yeah, we do.
Oh, you got one?
Oh yeah. I got 2. You want to join?
Oh yeah, as long as you don't go by the grave. Let's just stick to the train tracks.
There are. I love.
Have you found stuff?
Oh yeah. We'll go down and we'll find watches. People float around. On
oh
the
yeah,
boats.
yeah.
I haven't found anything of significance. My friend Andy Ogburn, who works for Watery Dive, has found some significant stuff, including some fractured stuff from bombing. So remember, Bomb Island. Everybody's heard of Bomb Island?
No, I've never heard of Bomb Island.
So Lake Murray has this really interesting. Besides all the interest in how it formed,
yeah.
To me anyway, the interesting footnote in history for the World War II effort. So Bomb Island, if you look at a map of Lake Murray, is about as in the center of the lake as you can get.
Okay.
And remember that this was built in the 20s, into the 30s, we get into the 40s. Nobody's doing recreational boating. Nobody's having a lake life. Nobody's a lake house.
No.
You've got a few people who live on the lake to fish, to eat.
That's it.
But you don't have a lot. So during World War II, okay, we get into World War II. We're sending over these boys that are 17 years old. They're flying B-52s, B-25s. Well, they're like, we got to teach a 17-year-old boy how to fly a great big plane. So they decide that, down in the Southeast, where people can fly pretty much year round, it's cold.
Okay,
but
yeah,
whatever.
right.
And they feel like if they have to dump a plane, it's going to be safer to put it in the water than over land, right? So they decide, and Columbia Metropolitan Airport was Columbia Air Force Base in the 40s. Okay, it was an Air Force base.
I'm getting a big history lesson.
So yeah, I hope you're ready for all this.
That's right.
So what they decided was Columbia's perfect because you have the lake, you have that island, so you teach these guys how to take off and bomb that because you're going into theater in Germany, you got to bomb a house,
right. a building, a facility where the weapons are being made, anything.
So they can train here, fly to Charleston, get on an Air Force carrier, go across in theater, get to Europe, take off, and go do their job they've been trained to do to protect our freedom. These heroes, these guys.
Yeah.
It's scary. We've all seen Memphis Belle. We know what it's like there.
Could you imagine? 17 years old.
What are you?
You're going in there.
Man,
you look at the kids that run around here.
It's scary. So this was that. So It was Lunch Island was the old name.
Okay, now it's
And
Bomb Island.
well, we call it Bomb Island. And here's the other fun part. Do you remember the movie Pearl Harbor?
I do.
Okay,
I do.
remember
Ben Affleck? Who
right,
doesn't remember
right,
that?
exactly. Josh Hartnett. Well, remember the second half was they were trained to fly over to Germany to make a pinprick.
Okay.
The commander's name now, of course, Pearl Harbor is a fictional movie, but the facts, Pearl Harbor happened.
Right.
And the Jimmy Doolittle raid, they worked with Colonel Jimmy Doolittle to go over to Japan.
Okay.
That actually happened. Colonel Jimmy Doolittle was a real man. He led a small group of I think they're 25s, over to Germany. Well, they trained at Lake Murray. That is why we call it Doolittle Island now. Jimmy Doolittle, and that's significant. And that is credited. That raid is credited with turning the war and turning Americans' feeling about the fact that we're going to win this war.
Y'all thought Tyler was just full of shit.
That's it.
See?
And that may be true, but not in this instance.
Dude, I didn't know that. So that's actually from the movie and everything.
Yeah, that really happened. So Jimmy Doolittle and his raiders trained here.
I got chills.
The hell out of that island.
I got chills the first time I went to Pearl Harbor. You ever been there?
I'm not, man.
You got to get out there.
Man.
So they take you to the Arizona.
Yep.
And the Arizona's down there, and they have a little bit of oil.
Oh, I've seen it. I've seen it
coming up from the Arizona. And they said, hey, look, it dissipates. There's enough in it that it's not going to harm nothing. But they will not go down there and get it out because they think it's sacred ceremony.
Yeah. No, it is.
You know?
It is.
And I have to, could you imagine? Oh,
man. When you watch, and I've watched some of the ones that they've color enhanced and fixed visually, it gives you a much better perspective. We've all seen the grainy videos, which is bad enough. But if you go back, and I think Nat Geo's done some good work, History Channel, with going back and enhancing and putting, it gives you that visceral feeling.
Yeah.
Oh my, I can't even imagine.
Dude, it's so funny now that, I never knew you was a cop until today. But now, knowing that, now I can see all the stuff that you do in town.
It all ties together, service.
Because, the service stuff, the police stuff, the 9/11 stuff. I mean, that now I can see why you tied into that. And for me, it's always, we do something here special at 1801. Whenever we have service people come in and they're in uniform or something, no matter how busy I'm back there, we take them an appetizer, we come out and we set it down in front of them. I explain the food. And then right before I leave, I say, you know what? We can't do none of this without you. And it's true.
That's true.
It's true. We can't do, people don't really understand the fact that we are kind of the world police. America kind of controls the world. But there's a lot of times when there's bad shit that's happening over there. And we go in because of that bad shit. And we don't necessarily want to go in.
No, nobody wants to give their
life.
Nobody
wanted to go to Vietnam.
But they're willing to. And that's the unique thing about these guys. They're willing to. They don't want to. I mean, listen, I've been a cop a long time. No shift have I gone, boy, I sure hope something bad happens today.
No, absolutely not.
But I put the Sam Brown on knowing it's a possibility.
Yeah.
And I do it. And I don't want to track from guys who do it full time now. I mean, I work part time, I still go, I'm not trying to draw a comparison to me and guys who work in the street today.
Right.
But that was always a thought in my mind, and it was every police officer's mind, and even their families.
Dude,
it's the husbands and wives of cops that go, baby, I sure hope I see you tonight.
Think about the wives who got to wait a year or two while they're on deployment and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Columbia, we're talking about cops and stuff. Columbia, I come from New Orleans. New Orleans has a record of being a little bit of a dangerous place.
Yeah.
Leon Locke. Look, I've met him a couple times here. He's eaten with me a few times. And I've been through a lot of different sheriffs in my hometown. Dude, Leon Lott is the man.
He actually just won a sheriff's award. No other sheriff in South Carolina.
It was like the national.
Yeah, sheriff of the year, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, this guy.
I got to get him on.
Yeah, and he is a wonderful individual.
Yeah.
Think what you want. Some
people, you call him and let him know.
Guys, detractors, but listen, this guy is a good leader. His men will charge hell with a bucket of water for him.
Yeah.
He gives them training. I mean, he is and I don't even vote. I don't even live in Richmond County, so I'm not.
You don't even vote for him.
So it doesn't matter to me. I live in Lexington County.
Yeah. I'm in Fairfield County.
But I know a lot of deputies who work for him. A lot of guys who have in the past,
and they all like him.
Listen, this guy.
I know, dude. I keep hearing it everywhere I go.
He's also the commanding general for the State Guard.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he got promoted to commanding general. General Tom Mulliken was the commanding general of the State Guard for a long time, and when he retired, he handed it to, or he didn't hand it. Leon earned it. General earned it.
Yeah.
General Lott was the successor for General Mulligan.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
Dude, he's got a lot of respect in this town.
Yeah.
But not only, I hate to say this, but like not only the good guys, I think the bad guys respect him too. It does.
listen, I will tell you a story, and you can when you're on the job long enough, you kind of get it. Not that Sheriff Lott patrol, but but the thing is, he will. I've heard stories. He'll stop.
He
He'll
still
roll up on a
goes
stop.
out?
He'll roll up on a stop. You
No
be out there a
way.
deputy. And it's shoot, the boss is here.
Yeah, that don't happen often.
So but I suspect the majority of the time he's not necessarily shagging calls.
Right.
But when you are, you actually can develop a mutual respect for the guys you put in jail. And I'll share a quick story. I hate to tell war stories, but I just want to illustrate.
Yeah.
So, back home in Windsor, Vermont, there was this dude, Ernie, we had a warrant for, and I don't remember what it was. So this, and I was very active up there. I was a narcotic guy. I mean, I did make a lot of arrests. I mean, people knew I was. I was very, very
you in the
prominent.
streets.
So we had a warrant for him. Well, he calls one night to make a noise complaint. And it wasn't a warrant going to kick his door. It wasn't like
right.
It wasn't a felony murder.
Yeah.
We know if I see him eating dinner, I'm going to snag his ass.
Yeah.
Well, he calls and says, kids on the corner are making noise. I said, well, I guess we're going to come knock at his door.
Oh, here we go.
So we roll in, and I call a couple of guys for backup. I was like, I know it's a noise complaint, but we need to take him.
Right.
So we go in, he says, noise complaint, blah, blah, blah. We take his report. And I said, dude, talk to me for a minute. I said, we got a warrant for your arrest. He's there with his girlfriend, his kids, or whatever. I said, we got a warrant for you. I'd like you to just walk out of the apartment. I don't want to lock you up in front of your kids.
Absolutely not.
Let's be men.
Yeah.
It's life. You got a warrant. I'm a cop. We're gonna exchange our business. Well, he says, man, I gotta go to the bathroom. I said, cool, I'll go with you. We walk in the bathroom. Well, I gotta take a shit. I said, all right. I said, like this guy, this finger is out like that from him, by the way. He decides to dive. He's on a second floor window above a store on Main Street in Windsor, Vermont.
Oh my God, he dived out.
He dives out the window. I snag him. I get his pant leg, cranks my finger down on his jeans.
Yeah.
He rolls off, boom, boom, boom. We go tearing out of the house.
Right, you're gonna catch him.
We did. He was a big boy. He was trying to fit under a little car.
Oh
it was the funniest thing I've seen. We're like, we can see him. You know that. Anyway, we did our job. We effected that arrest.
Right.
And whatever. So life goes on. And so I don't know, 3 months later, he had another warrant for something. I mean, he wasn't like a bad, he just stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Stupid, whatever. Guy who just does that, right? So I get
he was having a bad little time.
Yeah, a little spill. And this is now when we've got like the Miami Vice bag phones in the car. We don't have these little cell phones.
That's right.
We've got the bag phones. So dispatch calls and says, want to transfer a 1021 to you. It's a phone call.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right. So boom, I'm out on the road. And he says, hey man, it's Ern. I said, what's up? He goes, listen, you're the only cop I know that will give me a fair shake and won't treat me like a piece of shit.
Right.
I know I've got a warrant, and I know you're going to get me. So let me ask you this. I said, what's that? He goes, can I have dinner with my family today? And I'll be at the station house at 6 p.m. Let me have dinner, and I'll turn myself into you and only to you.
Yeah.
And I said, well, listen, it's 6:01. I'm going to kick your door in.
That's right.
He goes, I'll be there at 6. And I'll be goddamn.
He was there.
He was there a little before 6. He said, because I know with you, it's not personal. You're going to get a fair shake.
Yeah.
There were so many cops that build that relationship. It's not personal.
And you know what? And I know this whole story was about Leon, and I've heard that about him.
Yeah, that's respect. Guys will turn because he's going to get a fair shake.
Yeah,
and it's not personal. For cops, it is
Listen,
not.
I know, and I know there is a few bad apples.
There's a few bad chefs. There's a few bad TV guys.
And you know what it says, and that's true that it does spoil the bunch because one person's looking at it and they're saying, but in my experience, I've had a couple rough run-ins, but most of the run-ins I've had, speeding tickets and things like that, I roll down the window. Hey, how you doing? Yeah. I usually say, I know that I've been speeding, right? I'm the only guy that's ever like, hey, sorry, man. Yeah. I was doing 78. He's like, no, I got you at 75.
We know that when we say, do you know why I stopped? You go, no. We know
but then he writes the ticket, or they give me a warning, or they write the ticket for 57 and a 55 instead of 75. Yeah. So he just saved me $150. He knows what he's doing. I don't think that, and you know what's rough about police officers is that they're both going into a negative situation all the time. Even if it's a speeding ticket, you're pulling me over. I don't want to be pulled over.
Right.
You don't want to be coming to my car. Now you got to check my trunk. Pat the trunk. Yeah. They don't know. There's a lot of people who die on simple traffic stops.
Yeah. Yeah, there are.
So that's why I not only respect, but I go above and beyond for some of those cops that are just like easygoing dudes. They got to do their job, and if you mess up, you need to understand that you messed up.
It's basic responsibility.
Yeah,
it's that's all it is, man. Yeah, I get stuff, and I'll tell you, I can't speak for every policeman, but the ones that I've worked with a lot of cops,
Yeah,
a lot of great cops, and we all kind of have that same idea. Is I don't write the ticket until I talk to you. Now, if you're going 150 down Gervais Street,
I'm
yeah,
getting
we're
you.
probably gonna,
yeah.
But it really is because there are quotas. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't get a toaster.
Yeah.
All this stupidness. So when I walk up, if I feel safe, because you're right, because I walk up, and especially now when people
You
are going out
have to
getting
be.
shot at, I don't want to stop a car right now.
No.
I do. It's my job.
Yeah.
But if I roll up, hands here, and sir, I stopped you for speed. Okay, I know you did. Whatever.
Right.
If you're making me, and you're like, if you need a right to make, it's fine. I didn't do this.
Yeah.
You're more likely to get either a written down or a warning
Right.
than if you're like, oh, shut up. You got nothing else to do. Where are the donuts? Like,
Oh.
I'll show you where the donuts
Oh
are.
yeah. Yeah. That
I'll
ticket just
show
went
you
from
where the
110 to
donuts are.
210.
But that's the thing is
Yeah.
the cops are just doing a job.
You got to understand
They're
that.
doing the job.
You got to understand that. So my grandfather, police officer, my cousin, police officer,
No kidding.
my other grandfather, firefighter.
Right.
So I come from a long line of first responders.
I love that.
And so I try to tell people all the time, like, they have a rough job, man.
Yeah.
So if you can make their day just a little bit better, like we do with the appetizers, then
Yeah.
do that. So if you can go by and tell them. So I have my next podcast who just showed up over here. He does with the service people, so PTSD and stuff like that, which I know you do a lot.
I do a lot
of work with
Yeah.
service people as well. So it's just crazy these days that the backlash that they're getting. So
Listen.
we need to make sure that if we're saying right now, just give them a kind gesture, let them know you care, and carry on with your day.
Just think about the suicide rates of and when I say first responders, that includes military, that includes EMS, fire. So
Everybody.
First responders are, when I use that phrase, that's inclusive of that. But you think about the suicide rates of our first responders. Now, I have a lot of military friends, and I do work with Big Red Barn and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
We'll get into that
Exactly.
on your next cast. But, you come back and you feel like, I can tell you firsthand, you feel like nobody understands what you've seen, whether you're in theater and you're in Afghanistan,
Right.
and you come home to have dinner,
Right.
and you're like, this. I'm not
Or
used
you're
to
in
this.
some rough neighborhood in the Bronx.
Or exactly.
Yeah.
And you get home, and your wife says, "How was your day?"
I don't want to talk about that.
And she can understand it.
Yeah.
And there's this feeling of solitude that comes in. This is why I think it's so important to, if first responders together.
Yeah.
Be in that role. And a lot of people are going to shut you. Because I'll tell you right, I do it firsthand. I don't
Shut them down.
When I get home, I would think,
Yeah.
how was your
Catch
day?
them on another day. Catch them on a day off.
But it is so important to remember that there's a feeling of isolation that they have, and that's what's driving this. And it's not easy because we don't want to talk about it.
No, absolutely.
When I tell you this, just to give you an idea. So when I went to the academy, and whoever's been to the academy or basic or whatever,
Right.
it sucks. You get screamed at. Your bed's getting thrown out the window. It's awful. And every week of my basic academy was 16 weeks in Vermont. This is back in '96. And everyone goes, oh my God, just get me back to town. I want to go back to work.
Yeah.
But what was weird was when I got back, I graduated. The next morning, I had this really weird, empty feeling because there was no drill instructor yelling at me.
Yeah.
But my brother wasn't there. I had a girlfriend at the time, and she was there, but she wasn't that I gone through this
camaraderie just comes from everywhere.
It was the weirdest feeling, and it was like the day after the basic academy, man, and it was just like I'm like alone, like where there's no it was the weirdest feeling, and that's why I understand all the stuff that they're going through.
That's awesome, dude.
And there's no other way to explain it. There's no way to feel it.
What is your favorite food?
I would say pizza or a good steak.
A good steak. You got any favorite steaks place?
Well, besides 1801 Grill.
Oh, that's my miss.
See what I did there?
I love it. So pizza would be your overall. You can have it anytime.
It's my go-to. I can eat it morning, noon, and night. I can eat it a lot.
Okay.
If we're shouting at restaurants, Brooklyn Express Pizza in Irmo.
Oh yeah.
Killer pie.
Okay. Brooklyn Express. I'm coming to see you.
And they have axe throwing.
No way.
True story. Irmo.
Okay. I'm going to Irmo. I'm going to check it
What was
out.
your other question?
My other question is there one dish that you remember from from your childhood that you just you've never found, or you just always remember that dish? Because for me, it's jambalaya.
Okay.
Coming from New Orleans, my grandpa used to make these big pots of jambalaya on Sunday.
Right.
And no matter if I was 4, 5, 7, I can remember like these glimpses of coming in from the pool and having jambalaya, coming from a baseball game, having jambalaya. Is there one thing from up north that you just can remember?
Well, it's funny. We did this on Tasty Tuesday. I did a series called How Just Like Grandma Did.
Okay.
And I got my grandmother's recipes.
This is your great grandma that you were living with.
And I got her original recipes, and I made them just like, well, she did it a lot better.
Yeah.
But I used the recipe.
They always do. They always do. So what was the recipe?
Man, the gingerbread and the cowboy cookies. Gingerbread cookies.
Cowboy cookies.
They're basically oatmeal, a lot of molasses, and she used to have these big like gold tins.
Yeah.
And she had them by the fridge. And I was like, remember, I was a portly child.
He said he was a little bigger.
This is important. And so I would sneak in, and she would be doing. She always knew, by the way.
Yeah.
Grandmothers and mothers, they always know.
Always.
But I was sneaking. I take it off and take 2 or 3, put them literally in my pocket.
Oh, they were crumbs by the time you were getting them.
And I was wearing these Sears Husky corduroy pants too.
You were up north. It's cold.
How's that for a visual? And I would put them in here, put it back. And she'd be like, "What are you doing?" Nothing. I'd go to my room and chow down.
Cowboy cookies.
And she would, every now and again, she'd be like, "So why was there?" Because I forget to get busy.
Yeah.
Why is there a cookie in your pocket?
Yeah.
It's a damnedest thing. I don't know.
Damnedest thing. So we have learned a lot about Tyler Ryan. They can see you every morning. Good Morning Columbia. Yep. ABC Columbia. What channel?
It is channel? If you're on Spectrum, it is channel 5.
Okay.
If you're on Dish or whatever, it is on 25, and you can stream it live across the world.
And you have the show on iHeart.
I do. It's called Carolina Cares.
Carolina Cares.
That is a community affairs program. If there's anybody who has a community affairs issue, whether it's governmental, if it's a charity, anything like that, it's a half-hour talk show.
They're gonna tell me that I did not tell you about it, but Palmetto Place Children's Shelter.
Love Palmetto Place.
They wanna do it.
Done.
They wanna do it.
Done.
That's on record.
Done.
All right, it's done.
Done.
We're gonna call it a day. We're gonna set that up.
All right.
All right,
brother. Always good to see you.
It was a pleasure, man. I love it. Thank you for joining us right here on Chef Talks, and we'll see you next time.